We just recently did a niche version of this video, and if you missed that, you can check it out here. And in the intro of that video, I described the fantasy you often see portrayed when you watch reviewers like me talking about niche fragrances. Most of the niche fragrances you might see us flaunting on camera, whether we are being completely truthful about our opinions, hopefully we are, or we're speaking a little bit more cautiously, those fragrances were sent to us by vendors. So therefore, this title is a little bit insensitive. It is easy for someone like me to say X or Y fragrance is a must-have, especially if we're talking about niche fragrances, when I didn't have to trade my dollars to get it like you will have to. But don't get it twisted. While I may not have traded dollars for a lot of those niche fragrances, what I have traded is tens of thousands of hours of work, a whole lot of trial and error, and a lot of consistency that goes for many other creators as well. The currency for success and growth is not always dollars. So I hope it goes without saying that the provocative term must have is simply for the algorithm. I'm trying to grow my channel. We're trying to reach 100,000 subscribers at the time I'm filming this, and it's titles like these that aid in that pursuit. There is not a single fragrance on this earth that is a must have. The only fragrances you should have are the ones you've tried and love. All of this being said, we're talking about designer fragrances today. Totally different ball game. While I do receive free designer bottles on occasion from certain vendors that I work with, but not from the brands themselves, I and most other reviewers typically have to purchase the designer fragrances that we want to feature in our videos. Designer brands aren't hitting us up the way niche brands are. So of what you see here, I have purchased a majority of these fragrances over the years. Okay, Justin, so if no fragrance is a must-have, why are there fragrances that made it into this video?
A great question.
Honestly, it's arbitrary. The fragrances I'm going to share with you are simply ones that I enjoy wearing a lot. They work for my taste. That's it. If you trust my taste and opinions and you're looking for some new recommendations and you'd like to try these for yourself, then you're welcome to do so. They will be linked in the description. Check them out at your own discretion. Let's dive right into it. These will be in no particular order. The first one up is one of the best inexpensive fragrances I think you can buy from discounters from the house of Rochas. This is Moustache Eau de Parfum. I overlooked this fragrance for some time, finally got my hands on it, and realized what I had been missing immediately. This is a perfectly gentlemanly, sweet masculine fragrance to wear for the evening times, almost all year round. Maybe summer wouldn't be my first choice, but you could pull it off at night, especially if you're gonna be outdoors. Sweet, in an ambre type of way, uses benzoin, which is kind of vanilla-like, but has this resinous quality that is blended with patchouli. This is a patchouli forward fragrance, bringing this damp earthiness. So there's a richness, there's a sweetness, there's also a lightness. It's not terribly heavy, but it is not shy. It will stick on your skin for some time. It will leave a fairly noticeable trail, but its reservedness, again, while not totally invisible, is what makes it gentlemanly. It's what keeps it classy smelling. If we're talking about occasions, once again, evening out, dress it up a little bit more, maybe hanging with a slightly more sophisticated crowd. You consider yourself to be more sophisticated, this is gonna suit you perfectly. I love this fragrance. I'm so happy I finally tried it. That is Mustache EDP from Rochas. You know we got to talk about a fougere, and the one I'm talking about here is a timeless masterpiece. Yes, I'm using those words very carefully, very intentionally, from Chanel Platinum Egoiste. One of my new favorite discoveries in the fougere category. This is so elegant. Fresh, cold, icy smelling. Lots of mint, lots of other herbs, maybe rosemary. It's spicy, it's fresh, again, cold, backed up by a lot of moss. There's a dry, woody mossiness behind it. It's almost a little sweet and creamy, almost shaving foam-like. Perhaps will smell a little bit mature to some folks, but does not smell old-fashioned. It came out in the 1990s. For some of you guys, it might smell that way, but I think, again, this is timeless. This is classic gentleman stuff. This is daytime wear. You could wear it to the office. You could wear it on a casual lunch date. I tend to save this for the sun being out. I think you really could wear it casually or formally. It works both ways for that. It could be signature scent worthy if you absolutely love it. I think this is an incredible fragrance that you at least must try. Maybe not must have, but must try this. It's still on shelves around retail stores for a reason after all these years later. That is Chanel Platinum Egoiste. This one is no stranger to my channel. It's no stranger to the YouTube fragrance community. I've been loving this fragrance for several years now. It was a total blind buy for me. back in 2020, and it completely ripped my fragrant world apart in the best way. And I've been raving about it ever since. I think this is a stunning modern fragrance. From the house of Cartier, we have Pasha Parfum, one of the best flankers in this collection. I think many would agree. Again, that being said, it's not going to be for everyone. It does have a little bit of a sophisticated feel to it. It smells like a more mature man, the guy who's a little bit more confident, a little bit less concerned with what the average crowd thinks. It has at the heart a barbershop feel similar to its predecessor, the original Pasha de Cartier from 1992, but again, very modernized, a little bit less fresh here. The barbershop freshness is definitely taken away here, and it is made warmer and deeper, a little sweeter. There's a boozy element to it. There's some smooth sandalwood in here. There's a balsamic element to it, almost like tree resin in a way. I might wear this in similar situations to the Rochas, except I'm not pulling this out in the summertime. This is anytime outside of summer, usually for the evening, but you could do daytime as well. I think it could work just fine. Let me know if you dig this stuff, and if you haven't tried it, once again, it'll be linked down below. That's Pasha Parfum. From the very special house of Lalique, this is one I haven't talked about in a little while. I do really enjoy this one. Pretty much for evening wear, a little bit more casually perhaps, but maybe on a slightly more fun night out. This is Ombre Noir, again from Lalique. And this is this warm, spicy, sweet cinnamon boozy scent. Also with this wood barrel feel, almost like an aged woody barrel. There's a dryness to it, but it is spicy, it is lively, but it's not super loud, but it is warm. It's a warm scent. I think it shines outside when there's a little bit of a breeze. Again, works for casual, more fun nights out, but it does not smell in any way juvenile. You could dress this up a little bit more classy, but I would maybe choose a couple of the others for a very classy occasion over this one. If I'm gonna wear a collared shirt or a tie, if you're just going out to grab a drink, you're gonna be out on a patio or something, there's gonna be a nice warm breeze, works great. Any other time of the year also works great, but I would not wear this on a hot summer day. No. Ombre Noir from Lalique. One of my absolute favorite things about making YouTube videos about fragrances is when I recommend something and I have several of you guys try it and leave a comment saying, man, I tried it. It is amazing. What a great recommendation. I love that. It brings a lot of significance to what I feel like I'm doing here. One of those fragrances that has sparked that response from some of you guys is from Bogart. It's Bogart Parfum, a classic from the early 2000s. Honestly, another inexpensive gem here. It's kind of crazy how inexpensively you can get this fragrance for the quality it brings. Now, I've had a lot of people tell me since I got this and since I got Xerjoff Naxos that the two smell a little bit similar. I would have to agree with that. They have some crossover here. They both have this aromatic, clean smelling, sweet, honeyed tobacco-like feel, kind of creamy and smooth, but I would say this is definitely more toned down on the sweetness. It's not quite as honey sweet, toned down on the citruses as well. So it doesn't have anything that smells syrupy or like a medicinal feel that Xerjoff Naxos can give some people. That is not here. This is definitely more on the clean side, but masculine smelling. It does smell confident, but it smells very approachable. This is a fragrance that leaves a beautiful sillage trail. There's something about fresh sweetness in the air that is just very attractive to most people. So I'm not gonna make any guarantees, but I would maybe prepare yourself to get a few notices with this one as long as you don't overspray it, because it is not a slouch. This is an easily 8+ hour fragrance. I'd say borderline room filling potential. I really don't love that term. I don't care for that, but it's more of a warning. Don't overspray this or you're gonna choke people out. I'm warning you. That is Bogart Parfum. Check it out. Up next is one of the most posh summer masculine fragrances I think that you can try. This is from Varvatos. It's Artisan Pure. I think this came out maybe 2017. I remember being so excited when it dropped. I just went straight into Sephora and I bought it at full retail before it hit any discounter. It's really easy to wear, but also very distinguished at the same time. This is not run of the mill. This is not generic. It has personality to it. Woody, green, and citrusy. You get kind of a blend of orange like citruses, maybe clementine or tangerine or orange itself, mandarin. I'm not exactly sure which oranges are in here, but it is kind of zesty and bright, but made green and woody and leafy a bit by, I think, petitgrain, which is like the branches and the leaves of the orange tree. You do get this distinctive dry woody quality. That is perhaps balanced by a little bit of some florals, maybe white florals that just soften up the heart. They give it a little bit more duality of texture. So it's not just dry, woody, and then citrusy. There's a little bit of something to hold on to, maybe something fluffy, so to speak. Not super strong, but not gonna disappear in 2 hours. It wears very elegantly for being a mostly citrusy, aromatic, woody, fresh scent. I think it's remarkable. That is John Varvatos Artisan Pure. As you can see, I'm very functional with my fragrance wearing. I like to describe how and when and where to wear a fragrance, so it's not just theoretical. I'm gonna continue doing that, talking about Jazz Club. Jazz Club from Margiela. This is relatively new to my collection. I've smelled it for years, but I only just got this bottle within the last couple months or so. Some of you guys might find that hard to believe because, as many of you know, I am a musician. I do play the trumpet. I play a lot of improvised music. So many of you guys would expect that maybe this would be my favorite fragrance of all time. No, it's not my favorite fragrance of all time, but it is really nice. Tobacco, boozy, sweet, warm, kind of vanillic, woody. It's kind of sexy smelling. Beautiful date night material. It's beautiful just night out, going to a bar material. Black leather jacket, black t-shirt, and some nice pants and shoes. You're gonna be smelling incredible, looking incredible. It's just a great package. It's just super attractive smelling. So I can get behind it. I see why people really dig this stuff. That is Jazz Club from Margiela. I stand behind what I've said about this fragrance, which is that this is perhaps the best high heat, fresh designer fragrance that I think you can buy, if you love it, of course. But just for what it is and what it does, this is incredible for that function. This is from Hermes. It's Terre Eau Givrée. This smells like frozen grapefruit. Icy, cooling, sharp, spicy, a little bit sweet, a little tiny bit of an almost fruity, citrusy sweetness in there. Dries a little bit woody, maybe a little bit musky in a way, but it is just mostly cold. A lot of juniper berry, sharp, cold, icy, fresh, refreshing, uplifting, invigorating. You spray this on a hot summer day. I'm talking 90s, 100s, in that realm. It's just gonna smell so fresh and cooling around you. I swear when you spray it, it cools the air temperature around you. I'm not gonna say it's gonna cool you off when you put it on. Don't rely on it for that, but you're gonna love the way it smells and you're gonna love the way it makes you feel. Let me know if you already enjoy this stuff, and if you have not tried it for some reason, do get yourself a sample of this before the summertime. I'll link to what I can find down below. Terre Eau Givrée. Up next, this fragrance is technically discontinued, I believe, in North America. I think it is still available in Europe pretty readily, but it's still out there in North America at discount websites. You will still find it, but it's not necessarily going to be cheap because it is not easy to get in this market. But if you can get yourself a sample, again, I'll try to link to what I can find down below. This is worth trying. This is a gem from the house of Gucci. This is also nighttime material, night out, maybe a little bit more dressed up, more classy, kind of mysterious smelling. This is Intense Oud. This is a stunning fragrance for what you get. It is also quite powerful, so be warned, you don't need much of this. It is strong. This is kind of this sweet, incensey oud. It's ambery, it's warm, it's dark. There's something about it that's magnetic. It might draw you in or draw someone else in. I imagine wearing dark colors while wearing this fragrance, and I again imagine wearing it in the evening time. You want to make a statement? This is a great way to do it. Gucci Intense Oud. Wow. And finally, once again, this was in no particular order. Our last fragrance here is, it's also a nighttime fragrance. I really kind of split them up day and night for sure. And it's lovely stuff. It's not my absolute favorite night out fragrance, but it is wonderful. Definitely above average for me as far as the interest of a scent personality. It's one that is not talked about quite enough. This brand in particular is quite overlooked and underrated. This smells fun, but with depth and interest. This is from Brioni and it is Eau de Parfum Intense. Apple, oud, saffron, patchouli. This is woody and dry, very fruity, almost a sharp green apple-like fruitiness, spicy, sweet, dense, broad smelling. I have seen some people complain about projection on this, and I wouldn't want a fragrance like this to project a lot. I don't want to fill a room with this stuff because the oud could be a little bit edgy. It's not super natural smelling oud. It's not the most aggressive oud, but there's a tiny little bit of an edge to it, especially if you smell it up close. But in the air, there's a magic to this fragrance. There is an allure to this one. Again, it does remind me of some slightly more contemporary, mass appealing, night out masculine fragrances, but you smell it and you're like, yeah, but there's more going on below the surface. It's that patchouli oud. It's these darker notes that ground it, that give it just a lot more depth and dimension. So that is Brioni EDP Intense. Check out this house in general if you haven't already, and let me know if you have down in the comments. Once again, you can check out the fragrances at the links in the description. Thank you so much for tuning in. Peace. I'll see you in the next one.